So, yeah, honey, I think that it really intimidated Deanna when she found out that I was very familiar with the Bible. I would get to talking about Bible prophecy, or I would talk about the New World, Paradise Earth, and showing that the Trinity wasn't true, and there is no hell, and the God's name's Jehovah. And being around Deanna when I was in the Jehovah's Witness religion was hell on wheels. I mean, I remember a time or two when I had prepared and I was going to talk to her about it, and I was going to try to get her interested in the Bible, and I ended up getting my fucking head bit off. And I remember crying, driving home, and, it got to where it was just, why even be around her? If she's going to stress you out like that, why even go around her? So for long periods of time, I would have nothing to do with her. It's funny because at my apartment when I lived on Cottage, I have no recollection of her ever coming over there and just hanging with me. I lived there for 9 years. And I don't ever remember her showing up. I only remember one time when she let Stevie come over. I babysat Stevie for some reason. I don't know what it was. Only for a couple of hours. And then there was another time when I picked up the boys from school. That was the only association I had with those kids. And it was very short-lived. I was never allowed to have any time around her kids. They were never allowed to come over to my house alone or spend the night. They were never allowed to have anything to do with my kids unless it was at DEANNA'S house. And so I just found it so much more refreshing to not have anything to do with her after a while. I mean, there for a while I was going over to her house a lot, but I think when the time came that she decided to tell me, order me, demand that I was not to have anything to do with our biological father, I think that really turned me off to her. And then when Lori and Russ moved in next door to me, I was pretty absorbed with them, and I was writing letters to the Jehovah's Witness head honchos, trying to reason with them and I don't know how many letters I wrote. But when I wrote those letters, I didn't realize that I was also teaching myself excellent writing skills, because I would write and rewrite and edit and edit and edit and edit my letters. So it helped. I mean, that, and then I ended up going to college for a few years and tapped into that for a while. And they say that when you're a Jehovah's Witness, that the Watchtower and Awake magazines are written on a college level. So I was pretty much going to college, learning a wide variety of words for a very colorful vocabulary, and giving talks in front of the Kingdom Hall audience. That was a pretty good experience. But these are things that other religions don't offer. There's a lot of benefit to going out door to door and being able to impromptu talk to people off the cuff, to be able to remember scriptures, to be able to share scriptures with people, even if you don't get anywhere with them, it doesn't matter. But it's a pretty big accomplishment to be able to do that. But when you're talking to somebody like Deanna, who's hard-headed, closed-minded, flat refuses to listen. She just flat refuses to listen to any kind of words of wisdom or knowledge at all, especially coming from some low life like me. So keeping her out of my life made a big difference. And so, a couple of times I gave up the JWs and became inactive, or I got disfellowshipped and I started celebrating holidays off and on. But this time I'm completely done with it. And I think that it has freaked Deanna out because it's brought out the real me. I'm no longer acting like somebody that I'm not. I am no longer brainwashed. I am really myself. I call the shots. I decide what is and what isn't. And I don't have to adhere to any freaking religion or Bible. I don't have to submit to anything. You don't have to be a Christian to be a good person. And turning to Christianity does not make somebody righteous. You're either good or bad. That's all there is to it. You're either a good person or you're a bad person. You either have evil in you or you don't. So it doesn't matter, but I'm glad I have a lot of Bible knowledge and knowledge about history, and whether you want to defend your beliefs or not, it's pretty fun to be able to defend what you believe. But the thing about Deanna is that she always knew that she could not defend herself. I think she always knew that I was a better authority on the Bible than she was. And Deanna has always had a problem with my success. She has never wanted me to succeed. And she's always been jealous. She told me one time that Steve told her, "She's just jealous. She's just jealous." Of what, exactly? Of what? I was a Bible reader. I was very devout in my studies with Jehovah's Witnesses. And I remember the verses that showed that the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Foxes have dens and birds have burrows, or whatever, however the verse goes. But the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. And it showed that Jesus Christ was a very poor man walking the earth. He didn't have nothing. And the scriptures showed that it's better to not have nothing than to have a lot. And you can't take it with you. And you've got that verse, remember, in Matthew. Where's it at? Didn't Jesus say these words? That a rich man going through the eye of a needle. A rich man goes to heaven as easy as a camel fits through the eye of a needle. So that's always turned me off to having lots of money. It's always turned me off to having a lot of material things. And being materialistic does not make a person happy. And you know what? For her to tell me that my life would have turned out better if I had followed her religion, her beliefs, bitch, you can't even defend what you believe. And the only way you can learn how to defend what you believe is to learn what other people believe and why they use certain scriptures to defend what they think is correct from the Bible. Multiple viewpoints. It can't just be one viewpoint. Oh, but she was fanatical and just hateful in her Bible viewpoints. And that's what people do when they can't defend their beliefs. That's what they do. That's what people do when they can't defend their beliefs, is they turn to bullying. They turn to insults. They turn to hatefulness. And just like with what Deanna did when it came to our mother and our brother staying at our mom's, she saw that she was not convincing me. She was not able to change my viewpoint over to hers to kick Jerry out, to go over there and do her dirty work for her. I didn't agree with her. I don't have to agree with you. I thought that Jerry being there was beneficial for our mother. But Deanna has to be right. Deanna's right, the rest of the world is wrong. End of story. So she resorted to insults, to put downs, and she chose to use the most hurtful, harmful, meanest things she could possibly say to me, thinking, I mean, did she think those mean words were going to convince me? It didn't work. All it did was started a whole bunch of shit that caused me to want to contact Jan and inform Jan. Deanna is not acting right. Deanna is getting ready to do A, B, C, and D, and we've got to stop her. That's enough for now.